You've been seeking answers from every dermatologist, doctor, and all over the internet, wondering what on earth this unbearable skin issue is. You know something's up, and you've been suffering and silenced for far too long. This podcast is going to bring awareness to the brutal reality that is topical steroid addiction and withdrawal syndrome. It will give you practical mental and physical tips to help you along your journey and provide you the strength you need to push through each day. You'll hear from real people battling this illness, as well as experts in the field, and I'm also going to share with you what's happening as I battle and conquer TSW. You are not alone, you're not crazy, and you will heal. If there's one thing I know, it's that anyone going through this hell is a warrior. My name is Jennifer Powers, and I welcome you to TSW Journey to Healing. So I'm sitting here sipping my green celery juice, fresh celery juice. Swear by it if you haven't tried it. It might take you a couple times to get used to the flavor. It's not exactly super tasty when you just straight up celery juice, but so many healing and health benefits. Look it up, check the blog for more info. But I had this thought pop into my head where I really want to have this open conversation. I want to get really raw and vulnerable and speak from the heart. And this, while I was going to say this is predominantly for the women listening to this episode, it actually can be applied to both men and women, believe it or not. But it's really going to hit home for you ladies. If you're listening to this and you have put a lot of emphasis on your looks, equating your appearance or your look with your worth, whether or not that's something that you yourself put on yourself or through experiences, through your relationships with close people to you, maybe they instilled that in you. That's what this episode's really all going to be about. And I really want you to stick around and listen with an open heart and ask yourself, when I'm asking certain questions or talking about certain things, I really want you to think, oh my gosh, is this me too? I know that there's going to be a lot of you listeners that are like, oh my gosh, that is exactly how I've been struggling and how I've been feeling. I know I'm not alone in this, so I know it's important to share. So I just got off a therapy session. I talk to my therapist every single week. I swear by therapy. And there's so many different kinds of therapy, right? And we'll have another episode dedicated to all the different kinds of therapies that you can try to help with your mental health, your overall healing, just your overall well-being. But we were talking about the last several days, especially over the weekend. And there was something that happened, and I want to share the story with you. So over the weekend, it was a great weekend. Took my son and my boyfriend and we went to the zoo, and then we dropped him off at his dad's. And then we went to meet up with some people whose names will be nameless at a bar. It was the start of a holiday weekend here in the United States. It was July 4th, Independence Day, just yesterday. And so it's crazy busy everywhere, but especially down the shore where I am. And the bar, of course, was packed. And there was two other people that were with us. I was showing everybody a quick video without the sound on, of course, just to see a very brave, beautiful, courageous girl. She seems to be young. I don't know exactly, but she's suffering with TSW, like all of us are. And her face was peeling so severely. There was a piece, and I'll link this video because I think everybody should watch it. You will get so inspired by her bravery, her courage. And honestly, I'm just going to say it like it is. If you aren't suffering as bad, it'll put things into perspective for you. And you'll think to yourself, gosh, it can always be worse, because this poor girl, I wanted to hug her through the phone when I saw the video. But I show this video, and the people I were with, everybody knew that I'm too struggling and I'm in month 7. And I show them, and the one person leans over and says to my boyfriend, "Oh, well, I'm really glad you're not dating that one." And instantly, I knew that this person instantly regretted saying this. And of course, me being the Philly girl that I am at heart, I'm a little rough around the edges sometimes. I go and I was like, well, that was a dick thing to say, right? And I was just kind of laughed it off. But did it sting? Did it hurt? Absolutely. Because number one, I first felt like, gosh, my heart hurts for this poor girl who was putting herself out there on the internet for millions of people. She opened herself up to get ridiculed, to get judged, to, have those comments thrown at her. People that don't understand, people that, now this person that said this, I knew instantly, that person instantly regretted saying it, instantly. It was, and I could tell immediately. I'm very intuitive and perceptive, and I picked up on that right away. And this person's spouse was like rage and fire were in their eyes. I'm trying not to say, husband, wife, like who, I don't want to give anything away at all. So I'm just trying to give you the scoop, the gist of this. But the partner of this person was so furious, and instantly the person was fumbling over their words, and they were like, oh my gosh, no, you know what I mean, whatever. Well, they go to the bathroom, and of course I turned to this person's partner and I said, listen, do me a favor. Do not rip he or she, don't rip them a new one, please. I can tell that they instantly regretted saying what they said. It will cause me a little bit more stress knowing that when you both go home, that you are going to rage and scream and berate this person, right? Let's all take it as a learning lesson. I believe that this person who said that hopefully will think twice before saying something so insensitive. Because the reality is, if you don't walk in someone's shoes, you have absolutely no idea. The people that are in our support system, they love us, they support us, they try to encourage us, they try to be sympathetic and compassionate. But you and I both know that anyone that has TSW can get it. If you don't have it, there is no possible way that you can ever understand the depth of the situation, the severity of it, the emotions, the strain, all of it, right? So, I was just like it didn't even really hit me until, to be honest with you, days later, this morning in therapy, where my therapist was like, Jen, what was the message that you got from that statement, from that being said? And I said, well, I basically said, well, it's just that people, that person, he or she said what the whole world is probably thinking about me and all of us that are sufferers and warriors, I should say. And I'm like, and it really sucks. And she's like, no, that's not the only message that you got. And we sat there and we talked and we dissected it a little bit further. And not without giving away my entire life story here, there's been so much emphasis throughout the entire course of my life that has been put on my looks, my beauty. And, you may be listening to this and thinking, yeah, my mother or my father always said to me, my daughter is beautiful, my son is beautiful. And that's a wonderful thing. There's nothing wrong with that. When it becomes not questionable, when it becomes problematic is when that little girl or little boy or that person who's growing up and they're hearing that and they are not also hearing, all the other amazing qualities that make them truly beautiful, right? Because you and I know, at least I hope that going through something like this, as tragic and heartbreaking and painful as it is, when things happen in life, not just with TSW, but if something, God forbid, happens to you where your beauty is taken from you, whether it's a fire or a tragic accident or a disease or whatever, if you have been the type of person where you really saw your worth as the physical appearance and what you see staring back in the mirror, then you are really going to suffer 100 times worse with the thing that you're dealing with, because it's truly incorrect thinking. It's absolutely not beauty. Beauty is not skin deep. Beauty is heart deep. It's deep, deep within. And we hear that growing up, right? We hear stories like the ugly duckling, and we hear just like so many parables and stories and fairy tales. And it's just always seems to be surrounded by beauty and the outward physical appearance that a person possesses. We see it in the media all the time about body image and weight and perfect skin complexion. And, if you're a dude listening to this right now, you're not escaping this because there's pressure on both sides. I know that, but I can only speak from personal experience as a woman, as a girl, that there is so much pressure on women, so much to look perfect. I mean, not for nothing, guys, but you get away with like glamorizing the dad bod, for crying out loud, right? And we still have to be like, you know, super toned arms and super, super skinny and weigh this amount and have flawless skin with no freckles, no blemishes, no breakouts, no, you know, perfect hair that's dyed, no gray hair. Like, I mean, the list goes on and on, right? You know that I'm speaking truth here, I hope, right? So this whole situation that happened for me this past weekend, when I was really dissecting it with my therapist, she actually said to me, Jen, you know, I actually think in a lot of ways your beauty has hindered you and hurt you in some ways growing up, getting into adulthood, and even currently now, because it's not my fault. It's nobody's fault. It's not my parents' fault. It's not my friend's fault. It's not anyone's fault. It's just when a comment like that is made, it's really, really easy to not even understand the psychological and the subconscious impact that it is making. Because what she ended up saying was, Jen, that really translated deep in your subconscious as, well, I'm not allowed to get that bad. God forbid I get that bad, like that poor girl in that video. That means that I'm not worthy of love. That means that I'm unlovable. That means that I am not desirable. And I just paused and I let that sink in, and I thought, she's absolutely right. That is exactly what I thought deep in my subconscious. Immediately, I didn't figure that out. I didn't think about that. But when we really were in there, and this is why therapy is so good, right? Because it gets you to thinking about the deep-rooted core of the issue. And I want you to know that if you're listening to this right now and you feel like you can't stand looking in the mirror, I want you to look in the mirror at least a full minute every single day. And I want you to look at nothing but your eyes. I want you to look at those eyes, and I want you to say something kind to yourself. I want you to say, look, I am beautiful. I am kind. I am worthy of love. Say something. I mean, I have loads of affirmations I could share with you, but you get the gist. And, you know, if you're listening and you're looking back maybe of years of striving to have this perfect look. When I look back at my high school years, college years, not chasing guys. I never chased guys, but I always tried to put my best foot forward, and I always tried to look presentable, desirable, beautiful, sexy, you know, and it sometimes brings me disappointment a little bit, or sadness maybe, but it also brings me joy in different ways, right? It makes me happy because I realize how far I have come. I've come such a long way and discovered such powerful truths about the perspectives on beauty. And sadness and disappointment, I guess, in the fact that I wish that I knew that those ways that I was seeking perfection through beauty, through appearance, was not at all getting me any closer to really showing how beautiful I am. That comes all from my heart completely. So being that this is a topic of beauty, and maybe you've endured cruel comments like this, and I want you to know you are so much stronger than them. And although they're painful and although they hurt and feelings get crushed, you have to know and get to a place where, number one, you can feel sorry for people, that they're ignorant, that they don't watch words that are cutting before they speak them into existence. You have to rise above that and know that this too shall pass. You will not look this way forever. But guess what? Even if we weren't going through TSW, this is why aging should be looked at as a beautiful thing, because with age comes wisdom. Wisdom comes from experience, with the gift that God has given you to be able to live as many years as you have, when there are so many people that their lives are cut short. So men and women, of course, struggle with all of this. But I want to share a couple truths that I think may really help you when those comments come around you, or when you are beating yourself up and your own worst critic. And those couple things I want to share is that if you really, whether you're spiritual or not, and I absolutely am, if you've stuck around for this show any given amount of time, or you know me at all, you know that my faith is a very big role. I choke a lot of my healing up to that, if not all of it, right? Because God is so good. But if you think about that and you are a believer of God, then you need to know that, and you need to say and believe, God designed me. So he and only he defines my worth. Okay? The only authority that knows our value, knows our worth is God. The only person that can judge us is God, right? There is nobody else. So I made a post in our support group the other day where I was talking about taking back your power, right? Because you do have more power over this thing, over your life than you realize. But the one who has the ultimate power, the one who ultimately decides and defines your worth is God. So knowing that he created you the way he did, he does not make mistakes. He made you beautiful and perfect exactly as you are. So anyway, that is one thing that I wanted to share. And the other thing is that you probably know, just like I know, some beautiful people on the outside, stunning, striking people, men or women, but they are anything but pretty on the inside. They have ugly souls, ugly personalities, cruel people. And then you conversely probably know some not so attractive people that are not blessed with outward beauty necessarily, but they are the sweetest, most generous, most loving, most kind-hearted people that you know. And I think it's a good time to really ask ourselves the question, what do we define beauty as? What do we define as a beautiful person? For me, it's someone with courage, with kindness, someone with a compassionate heart, someone with generosity, someone that leads with love, someone that's not quick to anger, somebody, and the list goes on and on and on. And if you're someone listening to this episode and kind of rolling your eyes like, oh, but of course we care. Of course we do. I am not sitting here saying, oh, just stop caring about what you look like. We're humans, we're flawed. Of course we care. Of course we want to feel sexy and confident in our skin. But this is a really good time to kind of go inward and journal about it and ask the really hard questions. And then the reality, and the other thing is, when you're around, pay attention to who you're surrounding yourself with, right? That person that said that comment, I know that person very, very well. I also know that person always sings my praises, absolutely adores me. And in some weird, twisted way, maybe that person thought that was kind of a backhanded compliment that, oh, Jen, yours isn't that bad and you still look great. But this poor, it wasn't the right thing to say. It was actually a terrible thing to say. But just kind of taking more time to be patient and really understand where people are coming from and know that some of the cruelest people, some of the people with the harshest words, people that don't have the gift of of gab, they don't have the gift of knowing the right thing to say or when to say things, that they too are suffering and struggling with something. And just because my thing is more visual and outward appearance, theirs could be something internal. And so, I just want to leave you with this, that man or woman, old or young, you are truly beautiful. And I don't know you necessarily. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Probably don't. This podcast reaches far and wide. But I know a couple things about you. I know that you are so strong. I know that you're in this community, which means we're already connected in some way. And therefore, I value you and I cherish you. I know that you're subscribed to this show, and that means more to me than you could possibly know. And I think that's beautiful. That makes you beautiful because you care enough to subscribe to a show where it's now pushing the show out to more and more people so that we can spread awareness. And number one, connect with more people so that more and more people truly can feel beautiful and know that they're not alone. And so I want you to, next time you're around someone that makes a dumb comment like that, or you are just being hard on yourself, or whatever the case may be, you really ask yourself the questions like, am I beautiful? Okay? And men, you too. Because beautiful is not synonymous with one gender. It's handsome, beautiful, whatever you want to call it, do you know your heart? Okay. So I just wanted to share that. Lots and lots of good nuggets from therapy, man. I got to tell you. Whew. So if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the show wherever you're listening to this from, whether it's YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Google, all those other platforms. I genuinely mean it when I say it does help the show get out there. And if you have not done so already, please head over to the blog tswjourneytohealing.com so that you can put your name in the list so that you can get notified first when the one and only TSW journal that will be coming out very, very soon. You can get notified of when that'll be released. It's going to be so incredible. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to offer that and give that to people because it's again, you want to talk about like on the topic of beauty being inward and stuff, you're going to have that as a keepsake that you can look back and like be blown away by your progress, the things you've tried, the healing modalities you've done, and look back and say, my God, I am such a freaking warrior, man. Like, look what I got through and look how beautiful I am now to be able to pour into other people, to share my story, to know just for my own self, just to know that I am so capable of anything in life, anything that life decides to throw at me. I can, I will, I did it. I've been there. I've done that. I'm going to continue to do it. So sending you so much love, so much light. You're amazing. Appreciate you so very much. Thanks for listening. Please remember to subscribe and leave feedback. With your help, we can spread awareness together. So please share the show with anyone you know who may be struggling with a medical condition and using steroids to treat it. And be sure to check out the blog for helpful resources to aid you along your TSW journey at tswjourneytohealing.com.